So this is another question and answer for you guys. So someone recently asked me, would it be more convenient or beneficial for a cheat meal or a cheat day? Now remember, a full cheat day is legit an all-day process. It's when you get up and you eat constantly throughout the day. Everybody's different. I don't know how many times somebody's eaten, during that cheat day, how many meals, how many different snacks and all this other stuff. I don't know all that, so I don't know the answer when it comes to that, because I'm not sure how many calories in total you're putting in your system. When it comes to a cheat meal, it's way lower calories because it's just one meal throughout the day. So, when it comes to, scientific calorie intake, macronutrients, nutrients, and all that stuff, you need to know certain things in order to figure out the exact answer for this. But really, when it comes down to it, it all depends on how much exercise you are performing during the week. If you're going 5 to 6 days and you're throwing in a lot of cardio, a lot of high intensity training, you're just going 45 minutes to 90 minutes of hardcore workouts constantly throughout the week, and you do that 5 to 6 times weekly, then your body it deserves a cheat day or a cheat meal, and before I even get into the whole which one's better and all that, I just want to say that it also depends on your goals. If you are somebody who's trying to lose weight, of course stay away from a cheat meal or a cheat day for a very long time until you try to at least touch on certain accomplishments or certain goals, like, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds within this long, like within a month, or you want to lose 20 pounds within this many months, and all this, certain goals, you're not going to lose 20 pounds in one day. That's just not how the body works. So, it depends on the timing, and it depends on how much you want to lose. And if you're trying to lose a lot of weight, I'd stay away from both a cheat meal and a cheat day, and try to specifically stay with healthy foods. It's good to boost your metabolism once in a while, but if you're trying to reach your a certain accomplishment or certain goals, I would just stay away entirely from them. So that's just my thought on that. But yeah, so when it comes down to cheat meal versus cheat day, you always pick the lower one is better, right? I mean, cheat meal would that's just a fact. Cheat meal would be better because what you're doing is you're changing things up in the body, but it's just one meal, and a meal consists of everything. It could be like an appetizer, the main course, a couple of side orders, and then like a drink, and then dessert. Like, that'll be a whole meal. So that's still a lot, and that beats out any day, a cheat day, because a whole cheat day is just you constantly eating just bad foods, high sugar, high carbs, and you're just gonna get really, really bloated, and you're gonna, it's gonna put a hurting in you the next day. But you bounce right back into it, and your body kind of gets used to it, over time. At a certain point, you're like, oh, this is not going to affect me because those 6 days beat out that one day. So if you're at a certain spot in your life where you're just dominating and you're looking great, your physique's awesome, you feel great, and you're just going to continually stay exercising, then a cheat meal is not going to affect you. A cheat day might not even affect you, depending on how much exercise you do weekly and what your goals are. If you're down the road and you've been working out for like 15, 16, 17 years, and you're at this spot in your life where you go 6 days of just hardcore workouts, and then that one day of just waking up in the morning and go literally 24 hours just eating bad, that's still not going to affect you, because you're at a point in your life where you're like, the next day I'm just going to go right back into it, so it's just not going to affect you that much. And that's a big thing when it comes to watching what you do. So, but yeah, so at that point, I feel like both of them are pretty beneficial down the road. Why I say down the road is because you got to consistently stay with it. You can't just go right into it and just be like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then stick with what I'm doing. You should reach certain goals first, and then once you pass those, or you are in a stage in your life where you think that you could just do anything now because you're just at the top, then yeah, you could just switch around and just throw in a cheat meal or a cheat day once in a while. So But yeah, I mean, cheat meals are better than cheat days because it's just smaller amount, and you're still getting beneficial calories from something that you haven't had in a while, and it's probably going to taste 20 times better because you haven't had it in a while. So, yeah, that's just what I got to say about the cheat meal versus the cheat day. And yeah, let's stay active and get kinetic.